So to kick off, Mike, how are you doing?
Hi, Anne. How are things? How are you?
Good, good. Things are calming down a little bit after an unusual semester.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's very welcome, but we're glad we got there for everybody and students.
Absolutely, a chance to take a breath for everybody, I think, for sure.
Absolutely.
So Mike, thanks a million for joining us today. Probably the music technology and the creative broadcast courses, as I mentioned, are two of the most popular courses that we offer in LIT every year. Could you maybe start off by telling us a little bit more about both of them?
Absolutely, yeah. So they're both very practical focused courses. So we have music technology, music production, and we have creative broadcast and film production, both very heavily rooted in the creative industry. Students in these courses, they would they'd be coming to us looking to get kind of into a career in the live events industry, the TV industry, film industry, the recording industry, generally the music industry on one side of the house, and we kind of prepare people for a role in that.
Great, good stuff. So to kick off, I suppose, with the questions that we got in, and we've had a lot of questions in from students over the last few days. As I said, they're always two very popular courses. So students are still finalising those CAO choices and looking to learn a bit more about courses. Probably one of the most popular questions we get asked is, because both of them are Bachelor of Science degrees, is it a requirement or an advantage to have studied engineering for Leaving Cert or physics? Is that, does that matter, or isn't it an advantage?
Well, outside of the normal kind of entry requirements, there's no real prerequisite to have any engineering subject or a science subject. It certainly doesn't hurt, but when you start in year one of either of our programs, you start from the very, very start. So we teach you everything you need to know from the word go.
Good stuff. That's good to know. And probably an opportunity to mention as well that within the entry requirements, students are only required to have foundation level maths at grade F2 or higher to meet the entry requirements as well. So sometimes that's something that maybe students mightn't be aware of. So just a good point to note as well. And what kind of facilities are on campus, Mike, for those two courses? What sort of equipment and labs or studios do students get to use as part of the course?
So we're very, very lucky to have some really excellent facilities. The hub of all of our activity really is the Millennium Theatre. So it's a 360-seat theatre in the Moylish building in Limerick. So a lot of our work in those spaces would revolve around event staging, event management. Students learn how to be lighting designers in that space. They learn how to do live sound engineering. So when you go to a concert and you see a band or you see an artist, that audio that you hear is mixed by somebody in a small tent halfway down the field, and it's in that space that students learn how to do that kind of thing. We have a lot. It's one of our bigger spaces, and it kind of gives us a bit of flexibility. You know, you can draw the curtains, and you can have a lecture type situation going on in the actual theatre, and then on the stage itself, it gives us kind of a black box space where people can do maybe performance-based classes and stuff like that. So we use that extensively across both programs. Outside of that facility, we have 3 small recording studios that would be used from years 1 to 4 on the music tech side of the house, and also on the creative broadcast side of the house. We have kind of a multi-cam and green screen workspace where the creative broadcast students can go and kind of work with multi-camera setups, vision mixing, so cutting from one picture to another picture, and also experimenting with green screen to get visual effects and that kind of. We have a number of edit suites where students can go and work on, broadcast editing projects, post-production, that kind of thing. And we have a number of labs where people can go and work independently outside of their class contact hours on projects. They'd be kind of like living labs. Also, those labs are used for classes as well.
Fantastic, and that probably feeds nicely into a question that we got in yesterday from Sean Dermody asking how much practical work is involved in both courses. So what would be the breakdown maybe of lectures and practical work on the two courses?
Well, it varies from year to year, but say in first year it would be very much a 50-50 breakdown. You would have 50% of your time would be spent in lectures, and 50% of your contact time would be spent in practicals. And the lectures would provide you with the context and the content and the background knowledge you need to go into your practical class and complete whatever task it is that you're doing successfully, and to understand it and reiterate it as you need to. as you move from year 1 through years 2, 3, and 4, if you're on the level 8 program, or level 3 if you're on the level 7 program, you spend less of your time in a traditional lecture, and it moves more from a traditional lecture format into the lab lecture format. So you're in one of those computer labs that I spoke about a minute ago, and you're working in real time on projects or on your portfolio pieces or whatever it is, whatever task is at hand. You get to be doing that while your lecturer is there. You can seek your lecturer's advice, your lecturer's guidance on something, and you kind of have those issues addressed in real time, rather than maybe talking it out in a lecture and having to go afterwards and experiment a bit. So it becomes much more hands-on as you progress through the 4 years.
Excellent. And I suppose that reinforces as well LIT's approach overall to all our courses, that they all have a very strong mix of theory and practical learning as well. And then it's obviously fantastic that students get to work on industry standard equipment as well. So it's not new to them when they actually finish up. They're actually very familiar with the technology and the equipment already, which is super.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have some partnerships with Avid. Avid make a digital audio workstation called Pro Tools, and they also make a piece of video editing software called Media Composer. And we have partnerships as well with DaVinci Resolve. So they make a video editing software called Resolve DaVinci, and it's a very, very powerful tool. And we're lucky that we have people from both those companies that kind of work with us on accreditation and things like that for those specific pieces of software.
Brilliant. So that probably feeds nicely into another question that we got in, where are there many opportunities to link up with industry, which you've pretty much just answered there for us as well.
Yeah, we've loads and loads of opportunities. We're very lucky to be based in the Midwest, where it seems to be more and more of a hub for this kind of thing for the creative industries. So we have Troy Studios, we have Crude Media, we have Gable Media, Patch Arts Company, Piquant, Spencer West, Dolan's. We have the Richard Harris International Film Festival. We have the Lyric FM Studios. We have Live 95 FM, Star Systems, that are a live production company, A-Live, Murphy and Sound. There's so many opportunities for our students, and we have good, strong links with all of those.
So the Midwest is very much a creative hub, really, with all of those companies that are there in the region as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So I suppose that fits nicely then with a question we got around work placement, which is obviously an integral part of both courses in third year. How long is the work placement for, and do students have to find the placement themselves generally?
So the work placement is it's a minimum of 5 days, which is very, very achievable. There's no real maximum on it, but to get your credits for that particular module, it's a minimum of 5 days work. And the reason we say 5 days work is because in the creative field, every day is different. So there's no standard kind of 8-hour, 10-hour day. You could be on one job for maybe, you could be on it for 14 or 15 hours, depending on what the job is. So we leave that up to your own interpretation with the supervisor, your advisor, and the actual employer themselves. It's a very kind of it's a very different industry in that regard, but it's definitely one that is very rewarding. In terms of being able to find a suitable placement, by the time you get to that stage in third year, you would normally have you normally have the skills you require to kind of network, be able to get your own placement. You'll also have an idea of where your career interests lie. So we would at that stage have kind of primed you or prepped you for going out to ask for that placement yourself, and the appropriate ways to do it and engage with those employers. In lieu of that, we do have those links with employers, and we can kind of help you maybe structure that a little bit better if you need that. Great.
So there's fantastic opportunities to get that practical experience in a real live company then during the course as well, which is fantastic. I suppose another question that we get asked a lot, particularly, well, obviously about the music technology course, do I need to be able to play an instrument to apply for the course?
No, you don't. So we have students that are very adept musicians. We have students that have never touched a musical instrument at all. The word music is in the title. You do study music theory, but you study it from the very, very start. So as if you've never seen a note or heard a note before, you get the opportunity to start fresh. We have students who are very interested in the musical side of things, but we also have students who are very interested in the technology side of things, and the audio side of things. So there's a real synergy between those students. And many of the staff members are quite like that too. So no is the answer. You don't need to be able to play an instrument, but it certainly does help depending on what your aspirations are.
Good, good. So that's good to know. For anybody that might be late joining us, I just want to let you know that today we're chatting with Mike Gavin from our School of Art and Design, and we're chatting about two of our very popular courses, Music Technology and Production and Creative Broadcast and Film Production. So if you have any questions over the next little while, do make sure to get them into us, and as we see them on screen, we'll throw them Mike's way and we'll do our best to answer them for you. So just to move along a little bit, we got a couple of questions in from a girl called Ellen over the last few days, and Ellen was wondering, is there anything that she can do right now, with kind of during lockdown as such, to help her prepare for the course in September?
Yeah, there will be a few things. So trying to direct people to places, might be a little bit difficult at this stage. But one of the main prerequisites really is that you have the ability to kind of interact with a computer, basic computer skills. So readiness for that would be great. In lieu of that, the types of things that you would be studying coming in as a first-year student would be acoustics. So acoustics is something that's kind of, I suppose, difficult to quantify at this stage if you're not in the classroom with us. But it's the science of sound, the study of sound, and how it works in spaces. So there are lots of kind of resources on YouTube as a primer for that. So if you were to type something like basic room acoustics into YouTube and watch a small short video on that, just to kind of get your mind familiar with what it is you might be studying. In first year, you'll be using a piece of software called Pro Tools. It's a digital audio workstation. And Avid, the company that developed that, they have a free version of that that is available to download. It's called Avid Pro Tools First. So becoming slightly familiar with that would be quite helpful. Although we do, just to reiterate, we do start from the very, very start when you come in first with that. But if you would like to familiarize yourself with that would be very helpful for yourself. Aside from that, just using kind of online resources to become with kind of the culture surrounding music and film. We do an awful lot of study into the development of music in the last century, and the development of film in the last century, and also the technologies that have evolved with that. Back in, say, the mid 1900s, we would have been using analog tape to record music onto. Now we're using computers. So having an understanding that the technology has changed at the very least is quite helpful. And the same goes for film. We would have once been recording on film reels, now we're recording on hard drives.
Okay, that's great, Mike and Ellen. Hopefully that answers that particular question for you. Some other questions that she'd also sent in were, I mainly record songs on my laptop. Is that good enough to do well in the course? I suppose she's a little bit of experience there already doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, and every little helps. We do start from the start, but if you've already got some experience in kind of recording in a piece of software, a DAW on your computer, you're slightly ahead of the curve. So you already have that experience. It definitely doesn't hurt.
Brilliant. And is there any space or maybe a site where you can view work of students that are involved in the course, maybe that they can listen to? So maybe on some of our own sites in-house?
Yeah.
Even the Creative Tech course or the Creative Tech page even maybe would highlight some show reels maybe.
It would, yeah. The best place to go at the moment would probably be lsadgraduates.ie. So that is a website that is set up to showcase the work of the graduates of the Limerick School of Art and Design. And for the first time this year, the work of our creative broadcast students and our music technology and production students has been showcased there. It's not a complete list of all the work of our students, it's only a number of them. Aside from that, there would be lots of work. I wouldn't know where to start, actually. We have so many students engaged in releasing music, production of music and performance. But what I can do, maybe if this video is going to be saved on Instagram, I can come on and just type in some suggestions for people.
Brilliant.
Really, really good graduates and students, current students that are engaged in some really amazing work.
Fantastic. And obviously that feeds into, where they're job hunting and stuff as well, that it's great experience they can put down in their CV. It's like a portfolio of work that they have to show as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Brilliant. Do students on the two courses get a chance to get involved with Wired FM if they want to?
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of the first things we do in induction week with first years is we encourage them to sign up. So Ray Burke is the station manager in Wired FM. Wired FM is a volunteer-based student radio station. It's kind of a collaboration between Limerick Institute of Technology and Mary Immaculate College in Limerick. And, we really encourage our students to get involved in that. A lot of our graduates and a lot of our students to go on work placements, to go to work placements or seek out careers in radio broadcasting, radio journalism. So that's the first step. Work in that radio station. It's a fully functioning radio station. It operates 5 days a week. Absolutely invaluable to get involved with that. And the music tech students and radio broadcast students are the first port of call there.
Brilliant. So, and as I say, it's a live radio station, so it's absolutely fantastic experience that students can get while they're studying. Because again, as regards, skipping on a bit then, as regards career opportunities, Mike, for both courses, what kind of opportunities are there in Ireland? Is it a case students would maybe have to travel, given the nature of the industry, or are there good opportunities in Ireland for graduates of both courses?
There are loads of career opportunities in Ireland for graduates of both courses. It's a thriving industry, the creative industry, and it's traditionally, you could say this, it could be argued that people would have to travel to Dublin to do this kind of work, but more and more in the last number of years, the last 10, 15 years, the focus of it is kind of moving towards the Midwest, Galway, Clare, Limerick. And that's, I'm generalising there. Graduates from our courses would work as sound engineers, lighting designers, event managers, radio broadcasters, graphic designers, video editors, live event producers, live sound engineers, events crew. There's so many opportunities there. It's a very competitive industry, is the thing I would say. While there are jobs, you do have to have a couple of skills to be able to compete successfully in that industry. You need to be very driven, very determined. You need to have an idea at a relatively early stage about what aspect of the job you would like to get into, or the industry you'd like to get into. You'd have to have very strong networking skills. You'd have to have very good technical skills. And of course, like any job, being able to communicate and problem solve would be a huge part of it. But the good news is we teach you all that. We teach you how to be competitive. We teach you how to be driven, how to be determined. So that when you are faced with going out into an industry that is somewhat competitive, that you're very well primed to start a career in that industry. If you would like to travel, there are so many opportunities in certain other parts of the world. Just as there are in Ireland, and your degree is recognised internationally. We have graduates, recent graduates that are working in USA, Australia, Canada. We have a couple of students that actually went to the Middle East last year. There's so many opportunities.
Brilliant. And the fact, as you said, that the course is quite broad as well, and when maybe students don't quite know at the start, maybe which area they want to specialise in, that it's broad enough that it gives them that time to figure out maybe which area is best suited to them.
Absolutely.
And also the fact then that the course is offered at both level 7 and level 8. Would in general, would most students that do the level 7 continue to the level 8, or would some opt out and come back at a later stage? How do you find it generally?
We'd have a little bit of mix of both. So some students would kind of stop at level 7 for various reasons, but the primary reason is because they have found a career interest that they would like to pursue. And for the majority of students that works out, and then for other students they come back and they complete their level 8 at a later stage within a reasonable time frame. The advice I would have to prospective students is, if you're looking at your DAO form and you're thinking about what to change or what to put down level 7 and level 8. First of all, it kind of reinforces that you're interested in the program and you would like to be on the program, whether it be level 7 or level 8. And also it offers you the flexibility to do that and take that path that other students and graduates have followed. So maybe by the time you get to third year, you want to work in the live events industry. You will be qualified to work in the live events industry and you can go and seek a career in that. If you change your mind after a couple of years of working there, you can come back and do the level 8 and you can kind of reorientate your specialty and your focus, and you can go back out into the industry with some new vigour.
Brilliant. And that's the beauty of that ladder system that LIT structures its courses in, is that it gives students that choice to enter and exit courses at different levels, depending on maybe their circumstances, which probably leads us into the next question, which came in from a mature applicant. Said, I've applied for the music technology course this year, and I'm really keen to get a place on it, but I'm a mature applicant. Will I be on my own, or will I get on okay? So I suppose maybe some slight concerns from a mature applicant that they'll fit into the course okay.
Yeah, well, you certainly won't be on your own, that's for sure. I would say, off the top of my head, I would say that there's probably a quarter or a third of all of our students would be mature students, and they typically get on really, really well. A lot of mature students will be coming at, you know, their return to education, particularly in a field like this, from an interest point of view. You're interested in music, you're interested in film, so you already have that enthusiasm and that determination. That's half the battle. I went back to college myself as a mature student, and I'm a graduate of the music technology and production course from a couple of moons ago. But you know, I found that when I did my first degree, my original degree, and I went out and I worked for a couple of years, I came back and I went, it's not really what I'm passionate about. I want to do something I'm passionate about. So I followed my chosen career path with music. And that really stood to me as a mature student. In terms of being able to keep up with everybody else, there's no real problem. We take everything from the very, very start. So, you know, you and the guy or the girl sitting next to you, sitting down at the computer, opening Pro Tools or DAW for the first time, going, wow, what's this? We guide you through that very, very gently in first year. So the only real prerequisite there, and it's not even a major prerequisite, is that you have a skill to be able to interact with technology. So you need to have some kind of basic computer skills. Aside from that, you know, it's just ages but a number.
Absolutely, that's great. So hopefully that's reassuring for that student potential student who has sent in that question. And I suppose it's an opportunity as well to highlight that student support is something that's very important to us in LIT as well. So there are great supports available for all students when they come in, and during your orientation and induction, during those first couple of weeks when you're with us in LIT, you get to meet the people that run those different services and find out how you can access them as well. So something that's important to know for students as well. And that student as well has also put in a second question asking, again, how big are the class sizes on the music technology course?
On the music technology course, it's actually the same across both courses, so I can answer two with one. In a lecture in kind of first year, you would be looking at maybe about 40 people, approximately 40 people in a lecture. So when you move then from the lecture environment to the practical environment, it's usually about half of that number. So you might have 15 to 20 people in a practical class. Some practical classes are even smaller again, where you might be working in the recording studios, or you might be working in that multi-camera setup facility, where it's really imperative for us to be able to work with smaller numbers to make sure that students understand the process and kind of are absorbing it as best we can. So the real benefit there is that it's hands-on. Everybody gets to go at putting their hands on the equipment and working with the equipment, and we can monitor that as lecturers and kind of help you guide people through the process without worrying that everybody's had a go. So it's back to that active learning philosophy that LIT has across the board. So the practical classes, smaller numbers, your lectures, no more than 40 students.
Brilliant. And that's so important, I think, to feel that you're part of a community as well, that you know everyone in your class, and if you do have a problem, the lecturers and the students are on first name terms as well, which sometimes students don't realise the importance of it until they come into us, and then they see how beneficial that actually is then as well. So that's fantastic to know. So I think, Mike, you've probably answered all of the questions that we got in, and you've been very comprehensive in your answers. So I want to say thanks a million for joining us today. Is there any last words of advice or anything that you want to say before we finish up? Any advice you'd have for the class of 2020? It's been a difficult few months for them.
Yeah, it certainly has, and they've really all come up trumps with it. When we were kind of looking at the situation in March there and looking at the type of course that we provide to students, it's very practical, very hands-on, and then suddenly it was all taken away from us. You know, the flexibility that all our students showed was absolutely astounding, and if that's anything to go by in terms of their prospective careers, they're going to be absolutely fine. You know, they're the future creatives of today, tomorrow.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thanks a million for that, Mike. So I hope that has given you some idea and a little bit more information about the music technology and the creative broadcast courses. For anyone that's watching, if you have any questions about those two courses or any other courses in LIT over the next couple of weeks before the CAO Change of Mind facility closes on the 1st of July, do make sure to contact us. We're fully open online. You can email us at schools@lit.ie, or you can message us through any of our social media platforms. And also we have a chat button, a question button on every course page on our website, and you could submit a question through that route as well. Anybody you know that might be interested in this area and maybe didn't get a chance to catch our chat with Mike today, over the next couple of days, this will be available on our website and also on our YouTube channel. So you can catch it again and just digest that information again that Mike has kindly given us today. So thanks again to Mike. Thanks for watching, and take care, and we'll speak to you all soon.